Hi, this is Jean and Valerie, and I think most of you know that we are a mother-daughter team, and we do a gallery show every year that hangs the end of June and goes through July. And so we want to share what we have up, and Valerie is going to start with her wonderful block printing.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Stitchin Post. These are two of my block printed panels that I created this spring. I gathered all the blocks I had carved in the past 18 months as I was going through some dramatic changes in my life, and I felt kind of lost creative-wise, and when I pulled out all these blocks, I saw that I really wasn't. And so I decided to create some indigo panels and just do what I love, which is block printing. So I'm gonna go a little closer so you can see all the layers.
Well, and what is so amazing to me, if you've never watched one of her videos that you can see on Instagram, there is a little bit of pre-planning, but this is all very intuitive work. She just starts printing and the layers just come alive. And that's really what I think her creativity is about, being able to feel that and to trust herself enough to just keep going and keep printing. I mean, you look at the intricacies of this and the way she's used the different colors. I mean, it is really amazing.
Thanks,
Of
Mom.
course, I'm really proud of her.
It is very spontaneous. I always have to trust my gut. And usually the piece tells me what it needs. I always start with simple geometrics in the back in my closest color to the background color, whether it's a light color because it's a light fabric or a dark color because it's a dark fabric, and then build my way out. And there's always moments of like, oh gosh, I hope this works. But these worked out really well and I'm super happy with them. And yeah, the other stuff that I do is I love to make things. I like to block print on fabric and make things. So I have made a ton of table runners. They're all pretty much one of a kind, except for those two mushroom ones. And then I have lots of zipper pouches because everybody needs zipper pouches.
She is the
Zipper pouch queen. So we have all sorts of fun. I obviously have a little bit of a mushroom theme going on. I get a little obsessive, which is okay because then I make a lot of stuff.
I just want to comment on when you look at, she had stripped pieces of fabric together, then she starts printing the bags, but you know, no two are exactly alike because of where they get cut apart. So you can see this one and kind of look at this meadow fabric, and then it's over here this time. And I think that's part of the magic, is you really feel you're getting a one of a kind.
Yeah, well, when you hand print anything, it's one of a kind, that's for sure. And we have some towels just to spark up your kitchen. And then some cute canvas bags. All right, now we're gonna go on to my mommy's work, which I always love to show off. And here we are. Mom, tell us about it.
Well, I realized this year when I was getting ready to put some pieces together that I am really rooted in nature. I've been collecting rocks since I was a little girl. I'm very interested in wood and all of the possibilities for design from things you see in nature. And also the different color schemes that pop up when you really pay attention to whether it's a tiny little wildflower or it's a vista of something. So you can see in these beginning ones, there's a lot of rocks. And
We love our rocks.
this is actually a deconstructive printed piece where I used a silk screen and I made a screen with these rock shapes on it and the black lines was where I drew with the sodium alginate with black dye in it. And when I went to print it, I used my finger on the screen and rubbed color on where I wanted it so that I could really get the feel that I wanted with this. But you're only able to get one print just like that. But this
one of a kind for sure.
It was just kind of magical for me, and I thought, well, it's such a sweet little thing, and it gets to be in the show. And then I'm always carrying around hand stitching, because I love to stitch, whether it's by machine or by hand. And so you can see lots of individual stones. And to me, it's just magical creating these kinds of little pieces. No two are ever alike. This fabric here was some printing that I did when I had leftover dye and just kind of pulled it across fabric. And when I went to look for something to work with these three, it just felt really good. So that's another piece of hand dye.
And how about this monster?
Well, this monster actually is a linoleum cut, and it's half of this. So this is how big the linoleum was when I cut it. And that's the end of me cutting with linoleum, because I put my hand to sleep for a day. I got so intense on cutting, but I was inspired by a rotting stump. And I had this fabric that was created by Judy Robinson. She used to do shows and sell her hand-dyed fabric under the Just Imagination was the name of her company. And so I just felt like this imagery on this fabric could be really magical, and it
really
took me
is
a really long time to quilt it.
I was just gonna comment on the quilting is so cool because it extends the story out into the fabric. Yeah, it's really good.
Well, and now we're just kind of heading over into just a sweet little group. I like the feeling and the colors of this. These pieces all remind me of the beach. When you get to the beach, a lot of times it's cloudy, and there's some sunny days too. And then every once in a while, you will see some wildflowers here and there. And this little piece I did when there were some wildflowers blooming. And what I love about working this size, and you can see it's not very big, is that I do the piecing first, and then this is machine quilting, where I just create the imagery, that kind of line work and shapes of plants that you see. Especially, I like to see plants in the winter that are all dried out, and they're just kind of skeletons that are left.
Yeah, and you get the shapes.
Mm-hmm. And I did the same one with this one, the same kind of technique. And I'm a collector of rocks and shells. This little shell actually came from Ireland, and this one I bought at a show once, and it was said to have come from Africa. So cool. I have lots of those little special things I like to put on, but they really need to be in a frame or something because they're a little more fragile. And then, of course, I love this fabric. And I kept thinking, okay, what can I do with it? I think it would really be pretty as a large stone. And then I got into embellishing and stitching, and all of a sudden came up with this concept. And one of the things that I have been doing on some of my art pieces lately is, instead of doing a facing finish like this is, going back to a binding, but piecing the binding so that it is part of the composition. It isn't just the end. Mm-hmm. And I really love how, that kind of worked out. I had that little bit of gold down here, so I decided to move it around. a little more. Now I have two pieces that are this lino cut, and I called this my ghost tree, and I carved this about 15 years ago, and that was right after we had a horrendous forest fire. And in the winter, I was heading to Portland and driving over the pass. It was a blue sky day and the ground was covered in snow, and here were all these black trees, and it just stuck with me. So I have done a lot of these kind of prints, and I thought, it's time to do some more. And then this piece is just a sweet little piece that reminds me of spring. We do a lot of walking out at Black Butte Ranch, and there's a meadow out there, and along the edges are all these willow trees. And the old branches that are all gray and kind of dead are still standing, but here come these new shoots, and they are bright green. And then occasionally you will see an orange one or a reddish colored one. But what makes me really like these trees is how resilient they are. And it could be so windy and cold out, and here's these willows trying to head into spring. So these are the pieces that I am selling this year, and it's kind of eclectic, but I had a lot of fun just putting it together.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us on our little gallery tour. If you're around, there's an opening on Friday here at the shop. If not, give us a call and you can...
4 until 6.
4 until 6 on Friday. All right, everyone. Have an excellent day.